Hello everyone, myself Nitika, and today I am going to teach you class 11th biology. Before starting with class 11th biology, I would ask you, what do you understand by the term bio? Do you know what does the word means biology? Okay, so biology is divided into two words. One is bios plus logos. So what are these two terms? Bios means life and logos means study. If we are studying about the life, the living organism or the evolution of life, then the term means biology. So we are starting with the first chapter, the living world. In this chapter, the first thing that we are going to start is the differentiate between living and non-living organism. There must be certain characteristics or there must be certain features which differentiate between these two things. So I am going to tell you those certain features which differentiate between the two. First feature or the first characteristic is growth. The second characteristic, if we talk about, is reproduction. The third characteristic which differentiates the two is metabolism. Next characteristic, if we talk about, is the cellular organization. That is how an organism is made up of. And the last characteristic which will differentiate between the two is consciousness. So starting with the characteristics which differentiate between living and non-living, the first characteristic we talk about growth. What is growth? अगर किसी चीज में suppose there is a certain increase, अगर हम बोलेंगे कोई चीज all of a sudden increase कर रही है, so that increase is referred as what? Growth. अगर वो increase हम study करें तो it is studied in the two forms. First is increase in size and second is increase in mass. So if we say there is an increase in size of an organism or there is an increase in mass of an organism, then it is referred as growth. So these two things are referred as the twin characteristic of growth. Somebody may ask you, what are the twin characteristics? So you are going to answer, the twin characteristics of growth is increase in size and increase in mass. Alright, moving forward, if I give you an example, suppose you were in first standard at a time and after many years you moved to class 11th. Okay. So now at the age of class 11th, I say you to go and sit in the first class. It would be quite difficult for you. Why? Reason because your age has increased, your height has increased, your mindset has increased, so you won't be sitting and going back to the class 1. Similarly, जब किसी चीज में growth होती है यानी increment होता है, so it do not comes back. So the first thing that we learn from this is the growth is irreversible. Second characteristic is the growth is a permanent change. If there is a growth, it won't come back. If we talk about the growth, so growth can be divided into two categories. One is intrinsic growth and other is extrinsic growth. What is intrinsic and extrinsic growth? Any one of you know? These are the two types of growth that we are seeing. The growth which occur inside the body, that is intrinsic growth. बॉडी के अंदर होने का क्या मतलब है? हमारी बॉडी के अंदर सेल्स होते हैं, they do multiply and then they form a tissue forms an organ form an organ system, so the complete organism is formed. यानी कि growth is going on. If we talk about the growth, so growth के अंदर हमारी height increase करती है, हमारा body fat increase करता है, यानी कि there is an increase in size also and there is increase in mass also. But both the things are occurring inside the body, right? So that growth is referred as what? intrinsic growth. And intrinsic growth is a part of living organism. Now we come to extrinsic growth. What about extrinsic growth? Any growth which is taking outside due to the accumulation of certain things. मीन्स अगर किसी एक चीज पे बाकी एक्स्ट्रा चीजों का डिपोजिशन होने लगता है और उसकी हाइट इंक्रीज हो जाती है तो हम उसको क्या बोलेंगे? एक्सट्रिंसिक ग्रोथ. जस्ट फॉर एन एग्जांपल, इफ यू सी अ माउंटेन, इट इंक्रीजेस इन हाइट. स्टार्टिंग से तो माउंटेन्स इतने ऊंचे नहीं थे, पहले छोटे थे, फिर उन पे कुछ डिपोजिशन हुआ, फिर बड़े हो गए. Similarly, if we talk about the deserts of Rajasthan, what about deserts of Rajasthan? You see there are sand dunes. अब sand dunes में क्या होता है? जो आपकी एयर से sands फ्लो कर रही है उसका डिपोजिशन होता है और जो sand के पहाड़ हैं वो ऊंचे उठने लगते हैं. So that is again what an example of extrinsic growth. External accumulation of the mud, sand or whatever which leads to the growth is referred as what? Extrinsic growth. Next thing, if we talk about this growth only, growth can be limited or it can be unlimited. If we see an example of a plant and animal, plants keep on growing and growing and growing. There is no particular age. They keeps on increasing their height up to many years. But for animals and human beings, there is a limited growth that they will grow up to a certain age of or for certain height or for certain size. It's limited. So when there is a limit of something, it is referred as limited growth, and if it is extending more than that, then it is a unlimited growth. So I hope the first characteristic is clear to you. Alright.